everyone. Hi, YouTube family. Hello, Johanna. I'm so happy to be here with you today for the second video interview with Johanna Farrimond. I met with her a little over a month ago to discuss her extraordinary and life-changing introduction into quantum touch energy healing. And today we're back together to chat about her journey since then. She has taken a deep dive into quantum touch. So I'm excited to hear from her. And for those of you who are seeing me for the first time or not familiar with me, my name is Renée Morris. I'm a certified quantum touch practitioner, quantum touch ambassador, and passionate about everything to do with energy and how we can use energy healing tools to improve our lives to become stronger, happier, healthier people and manifest our desired futures. So thank you, Johanna, for being here with me today. I'm excited to get caught up to chat a little bit about what has transpired since our last video interview. And I'll link to that video in the description below so people can go back and watch it. But a small synopsis of it would be that you had an extraordinary experience participating in a demonstration of spontaneous postural alignment with Quantum Touch founder Richard Gordon. And that experience was life-changing for you. And you've since decided to take a deeper dive into the world of quantum touch with the level 1 workshop and also with doing some of your own practice demonstrations with people. So I'm looking forward to hearing all about that. And I know you gave a longer introduction in the first interview, but if you don't mind just sharing a few things about yourself, if you had any previous experience with quantum touch or the world of energy healing in general, and how you came to be connected with quantum touch. So thank you and welcome.
Hi, Renee. It's great to be back with you. It's hard to believe it's been over a month, and a lot has happened since then. So previously, I had no energy healing experience. This wasn't something that I had planned on doing. As you said, I just really came across Richard Gordon and was more than anything just curious. And I'm quite a curious person, but I'm also quite skeptical. And so I thought, I've nothing to lose. I'll take Richard up on his demonstration. It probably won't work. But I'm so glad that I did, because it really has opened up this whole new world for me. And it, alongside the therapeutic effects of, yes, now my hips are aligned and I have had some benefits of not having lower back pain, for instance, when I play racket sports. Um, I've I also feel like I did get some greater benefit of energy flow. My energy just flows better. I can have this I have this sensitivity of energy that I just only had I feel like I only had it partially before. And so it has done a lot more for me than I ever expected. And I think that was a big driver for me to learn more and go into this more. And so that's why I've really started diving in and doing the Quantum Touch one workshop with Deborah Gare. Um, before I started with the with this energy healing journey, I always had not always, I had a spiritual awakening back in 2007 when I was 31. Don't do the math. But ever since then, I saw, leading up to that point in my life, I had always followed society, followed all of these things, and I just didn't find my true self until that moment. And so as part of learning about energy, I feel like it's also learning about your true self and what are we actually capable of that society is not telling us about. I mean, it took me a very long time to figure out that I wasn't on my true path. And so that's also kind of what what I try to help people with. And so for me, this is kind of a natural journey, if you will. So
That's wonderful. So in one sense, you were completely new to energy healing and the world of quantum touch, but in a larger zoomed out picture, there's a spiritual journey that this kind of overlaps and is a great continuation of in terms of human abilities, discovering our true nature, and so on. And so I have a question because now it's been about 2 months since your video demonstration with Richard Gordon. And you mentioned some of the benefits that came as a result of that demonstration. And have they lasted the whole 2 months and continue to carry on? I'm curious to know.
yes, I actually, with the help of my husband, measured my hips just yesterday, just to, make sure nothing had changed. So yes, my hips are still aligned. I'm still experiencing the benefits. I still have, well, especially practicing and doing the breathing exercises and the energy sweeping that I've learned in the Quantum Touch workshop. I do that every day, so it's constantly part of my life. So I continue to have this sensitivity of energy that I didn't have before. And I also tried. I thought that by having my hips aligned, it might help with my IT band issues, so that I could start running long distance again. That didn't happen. But it was a wishful thinking. But I'm still really happy with where I'm at. But just to update people,
That
if you
is
think that's going to
extraordinary.
fix your IT band issue, maybe it will help. But yeah, I still have it. That's okay. Um,
That's phenomenal. I think it's really remarkable that you experience these things. And I would love to hear you talk a little bit more about the energy awareness. Is that something that you're experiencing within your own body, or is it something that you experience in the environment around you? Could you share a few
mm,
insights about what that's been like?
that's interesting. So it's more my own body. Um, although although last week when I was traveling to see a friend, and she was going through some problems, and I could feel, all I can describe it is a real heaviness in the air. And I remember telling her that it just, this feels really heavy. But another thing that's kind of interesting, and I didn't raise it. It kind of got raised in the workshop, but I didn't say anything. But one of the things was, oh, we're all empaths. And I used to really lump myself in this empath group, so that if I was around someone who was really angry or upset, I would sort of take on their energy. And now, I feel like I don't do that anymore. I mean, I know that I don't do that anymore, and it's so liberating in a way, because I feel more empowered. Like, I don't have to take on their energy. I can just continue to be me and in my space, and I can leave, their energy uh, to them, so to speak. So, I mean, that's been just like it's like a burden lifted. I have to say, because I really, before that, had been quite a sponge. And in some cases, that's really good when you're around somebody who's, just full of energy and really lively. But then when you're not, and you're around somebody who's, maybe just going through their own stuff, it can be, just really, really draining. And so I'm able to sort of discern that more, and I'm much more careful with the company that I keep and things. So I do try to, because I don't want to go back there. So I do try to protect my energy, but then at the same time I don't really feel like maybe it's not something I have to protect. I'm in more control of my own energy. Do you find that? It's
I absolutely have had the same experience. And also, I tend to attract clients who also identify with the experience of being an empath. And I, just like you, I'm so glad that you said that you do the breathing and sweeping every single day, because I do as well. And I think that naturally helps me to maintain a high frequency, a high vibration. And then, as the Quantum Touch Level 1 workshop explains, with the rules of vibration and resonance and entrainment, the stronger and higher frequency becomes the dominant one. So we're less able to be affected, but we can, recognize the energy around us, but we're not necessarily brought down by it or take it onto ourselves. So I think in that sense, it's like a natural side effect to practicing the work regularly, is that we don't feel anymore like we have to put up protections around us. We just naturally become protected in a way. So I think it's a beautiful tool for anybody who does struggle with the experience of being an empath, which of course can be a beautiful gift. Like you said, there's some opportunities where it's really a powerful gift to have. And then other times it can be very difficult to move through life with that ability to feel other people's emotions and the tendency to take that on. So I think that in practicing the techniques regularly, we just maintain a strong field around ourselves, and then we become the dominant vibration, and other people, that brings other people up. So that's something that I think is beautiful, and I'm so glad that you've observed that and experienced that for yourself, because it's life changing alone.
Yes, and I'm glad that that resonated with you because I hadn't told anybody that. I mean, apart from my husband, I hadn't told anyone in the energy work that.
Amazing.
So
That's
that's
great. And
interesting.
so that brings us to your experience. So the last time
Yes.
we talked was a little over a month ago, and I
Hmm.
think within a few days or within a week, you had already registered for the Level 1 Quantum Touch workshop with Deborah Gare. And as I've mentioned to you, I have not experienced the workshop with Deborah yet, but I will be this week. We're going to be classmates, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. And so you took the Level 1 workshop, which gives you the basic skills of quantum touch.
Hmm.
And obviously, you've been putting them into practice. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience? Did you enjoy the workshop? How was it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the workshop so much. I mean, Deborah is amazing at just making you feel the course material. And I don't know how else to put it, but it is like you just absorb it. You don't feel like you have to, sit there and just take notes the whole time. I mean, she has you breathing, and it's very much a practical workshop. So you're constantly breathing and then telling about your experience. And so it helps, I think, when you're doing these exercises to hear the feedback of someone else's experience. And then you can sit there and say, I felt that in the same places too, or I didn't feel that in my feet. I felt it somewhere else. But it's really nice to have that communication back and forth. And one thing I thought was interesting, I think there were 6 people in the workshop, and I was the only person who had not studied energy healing from another modality. Everyone else was coming in from this and that modality. So I didn't expect that. I thought, oh, I'll be maybe because I had already read the Quantum Touch 2 book, and I thought, oh, I'll already be ahead of some people. But no, absolutely not. They were all experienced. So,
That
but I,
is amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. And my understanding, I also started learning quantum touch without being certified or working in any other type of healing modality. And my understanding is that quantum touch makes not only a great complement to other modalities, but can also actually boost the effectiveness of other modalities as well. So what an interesting experience for you to be with other energy healers and be the only one who was coming into it without that experience.
Yes, and another thing that really helped me was just the one-on-one work because it was the first time I had, I mean, other than just practicing, with my husband who doesn't have any energy healing language or background, it was wonderful to send someone energy who was able to then tell me what they were experiencing during the healing. So that was just a big boost of confidence for me in that, wow, this, because it was also the first time I'd done anything like that over Zoom, right? So this was my first sort of confirmation as a skeptic, as having, someone who had only seen and experienced the hip alignment over Zoom, but then actually sending someone energy, visualizing things, and then have that person then tell me things about either a tone that I was sending or light or different things that I had been imagining. For to hear someone parrot that what was just in my imagination was that was really incredible because that again was another confirmation. So I really really enjoyed it. I was surprised that after 4 days I had I didn't I just felt a loss when when the workshop was over because it's a different sort of bond that you create with somebody who's healing you, if that makes sense. It's just a
Hmm.
kind of a different intimacy, I suppose. And especially it's so giving because these are complete strangers. I mean, not people I had met. They're not friends. And you do develop this affection. So I was surprised by that, actually.
That is really beautiful. And I think that that's one of the benefits of taking the like a live class as opposed to taking learning from the books or learning from the pre-recorded class, for example, is when you do it live, either in person or online, you're connecting with people in that way. There is a sort of intimacy about it. And you're supporting each other in your healing processes. So I think it's a beautiful experience, and the way that you describe it, it's just something very very special. Do you have any other insights that you would like to share from the level one workshop? It sounds like you had a wonderful experience, and you've been inspired also to register for another workshop as well.
Yes, yes, yes. So insights, I would just, for anyone who's interested in quantum touch, I would just say, even if you're not going to be a practitioner, just to learn about these abilities that we have, that we all have, I would definitely, maybe get the book, the Quantum Touch book, and if you don't do anything else, take the Quantum Touch 1 workshop because um, just it's so beneficial, I think, just to have this knowledge. Then, maybe you can teach it to your family. You have something that you can use to help heal yourself. The empowerment alone and the changing of your belief system is, I think, it's just so powerful. If you really want to discover more about yourself, um, that I suppose that's all I would say about the Quantum Touch One workshop. I do want to tell you about the first healing or the first demonstration that I did. So it was actually on the last day of the workshop. When you finish the workshop, every day that you're taking the workshop, you just feel amazing. I don't know. It's like you feel completely relaxed. You feel completely energized. And so I thought, well, this is an excellent time, for me to go ahead and practice this on someone. So my husband's cousin had been visiting us for a few days, and so I so I knew she wanted a healing. So I said, okay, let's just do this now. I'm in a really, I'm in a good place to do it. So I measured her hips, and what was great was they were really out of alignment. So I knew, okay, I'll definitely know, or it won't work, but it will. I'll know for sure if this works or not. And so I had her just stand in our living room. So she's standing there with her eyes closed, and I just sat down on the edge of the couch, and I had done my meditation. I was sending her energy. I could see her start to sway a little bit. So that was again some positive confirmation that, oh, she's receiving some energy, or something's happening, unless she's trying to do that herself, which I don't think so. But then my mind started talking to me, like, oh, well, it's been some time. Well, nothing's happening. You don't feel any different. She doesn't feel any different, probably. Let's just so I had to just stop, and so my husband Neil's filming it, and so I just turned and said, I don't know. I don't know if it's worked or not. Let's just check. And I was amazed when her hips were aligned. I mean, I was like,
Wow.
you take a kid and you say, like, if they woke up all of a sudden in the middle of Disney World, that was me. Like, it just I was just like, because even though we do hip alignments in the workshop, it's not just you, right? It's like, oh, everybody is doing this. So I don't know, if it's me, or oh, maybe it's a person on Zoom who's able to do that. But this was definitely a result of me raising her energy, and she immediately said that she was feeling all of this love, and she said she was just feeling it here, and it was an incredible feeling. It really, really was. If anything,
That
I mean,
is amazing. That's
I know,
really extraordinary.
especially for a skeptic.
That's it. And it's one thing to watch a video online, or to exactly have this group workshop experience, for example. It's another thing to do it firsthand and see the results for yourself, and also to have the recipient describe her emotions as well. She didn't just have a physical change, but she experienced there was something else going on as well.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So yeah, so she did say, so the swaying was just the energy that she was feeling, and I know it was, I didn't time it, but I know
Amazing.
it was under a minute. So um I mean,
That is
I am no Richard
extraordinary.
Gordon, but the end
That's
result is the
it.
same.
He just does it in a couple of seconds, or he's told me about this other technique where he just points with his finger and says boing or something.
Yeah.
Not that it's that noise has anything to do with it, but it's a little bit comical in a way also, because it really challenges our logical assumptions and our logical beliefs and so on. And what did the recipient in the days after, did she have any other, were you able to remeasure at any point, or how was her experience of this alignment?
Let's see. I think I measured her right before she went to the airport, and she was fine. She asked me to do it. And I think maybe that was 5 days later or so. And the next day we did go into Queenborough, which has like lots and lots of hills, and she said there's no way she would have been able to walk as far as she did. So I mean, that was something, right? I was
Wow.
happy that, because I was a little bit concerned, like, oh, I hope you don't have any pain the next day, because the weather wasn't very good here. So we were, having to plan things around the weather. So I was happy that that she had a good report. And then so there's two more
That's
I can tell you about
fantastic.
if we
That's
have
it. I
time.
would love for you to
Yeah.
tell me. So that was the
Oh,
first
that
one,
was the first
and then
one.
you decided you were inspired to do more
Oh,
after that
I can't do
amazing
enough
experience.
at this point. I'm like an addict. No. So
Which
then,
is really interesting because I just told you before we started recording that in my quantum touch journey, I was never really that interested in the alignment aspect. It didn't catch my attention, and it's only been recently with Richard producing these video demonstrations where it's really clicked with that. It's really extraordinary that it's a really concrete, measurable result of the energy sending experience. So I'd love to hear about the that you've done.
okay, great. So the second one, and part of it will be here's what you shouldn't do as a beginner. So I went to Lisbon to stay with a friend, and I was going to practice spa on her, but her hips were perfectly aligned. So, as luck would have it, I couldn't do anything. And if I was a skeptic and I was here, she's like way up here as a skeptic. Oops, there goes my microphone. Um, anyway, it's funny about skepticism, right? Because what she did want was for me to, she didn't believe in it, but she said, oh, well, my mother has been going to the osteopath for months, and she has these problems with her hips. They're misaligned. And she said her knee, she had all these issues. So I said, sure, I'll practice this on your mother. And so her mother is up in the north part of Portugal. So we, one evening, she gets her mom on the phone. So she explains to her mom what's happening because her mother doesn't speak English and I don't speak much Portuguese. So she just explains what we're doing. I'm sitting in a chair and my friend is holding up, the phone like right in front of my face, And so it's really awkward. Her mom's face is filling the phone, and I didn't tell her to, close her eyes or anything. So she's just looking
Oh,
at me, like for a minute or, however was a long, long, long time. And then meanwhile, we didn't tell her husband what was going on. So he, is peeking around like from the kitchen, looking at us, and I'm here trying to meditate
oh
on
no.
her mom. And I'm thinking like, go away, go away. I can't focus. Don't say anything. So
Yeah,
next,
no pressure at
yeah,
all.
right. So much pressure. If you think it's pressure, to help out your friend's mom is like a different level of pressure, right? So I said, I don't know if it worked, but ask your mom to go and check her hips and we'll see if it worked. And she looked at me and she said, oh, my mom, she doesn't know how to measure her hips. You'll have to wait for a doctor's appointment. So I'm
Oh
like, oh
no.
my gosh. So this was last Wednesday. So almost a week ago. And then her doctor's appointment was Friday afternoon. And by then I had already returned home. And I mean, anytime I wake up, I am constantly thinking about, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I miss a step? Was I focused enough? And so I really was worrying about it. And finally, she didn't call me. My friend didn't call me until Friday night. And she says, well, my mom came back from her doctor's appointment and she said the doctor measured her and he thinks he has done a miracle because her hips are aligned. So I
Wow.
just thought we were just laughing and laughing. And I said, I just said, I don't even care. She didn't tell him anything because, maybe your doctor will give her better care now because he thinks he's really helped her so far. So I just
That
thought it
is
was hilarious.
amazing.
Yeah. So
And what did your friend say about she must have been blown away?
yeah, she said, I'm a believer now. So it was great. Right. Yeah.
That is amazing. What a great story.
It was really interesting
And
that, yeah, I just didn't think, it didn't occur to me to think that, oh, I'm not going to find out if it worked for 2 days. And then I was thinking, will she let me, because she's a skeptic, will she let me do it again? And then, I just felt so invested then. And I think that's difficult for me to let go of the outcome. I'm very much, uh, I feel it, I'm holding on to the outcome too much because I know it's not me. It's up to their body to heal if it does or not. But I think I can see that will be a problem area for me.
I understand. And because I think that, we want so much to be able to facilitate healing, to help people in their healing journey. We want positive results. So, in that way, it's difficult, but at the same time, it can be so liberating to not have that responsibility because it's not ours to have, and that it's the body's inner healer doing the work. But it's natural, I think, to want those positive results all the time. And so I think you sent me a message saying that you did a SPA demonstration also with somebody, a complete stranger. So was that the next one in the
Yes.
series?
Yes. So the
Okay,
third
tell
one,
me about that.
yes, that was that on Friday? So I think that was on, it doesn't matter. It was a few days after this one. And so I was feeling quite confident. And this was actually one of my ex or Twitter followers. Because I've put out there, I will do these, just put 15 minutes on my calendar and let's see. And I've had a couple of, I have had some interest, but this was the first one that actually, didn't cancel, that kept going. And so the amazing thing is she's all the way in Laos, so which is from Portugal,
Wow.
6,000 miles away. And I had to look it up afterwards, but so I made sure this time I had her stand up and just asked her to close her eyes. And then I sent the energy, and I was more confident with this one. And I thought, because she seemed quite nice, and I thought, well, if it doesn't work in the first 30 or 40 seconds, she'll probably let me do it again. So I just took that chance of maybe it was long enough, because you don't feel anything. So I don't really know when it works. I don't get any feedback. Um, so I think she was quite nervous to go and look, but she was so out of alignment she could easily check, and she was having a lot of pain before, and so she came back
Oh,
from
wow.
looking in the mirror, and she said they're even, and I just felt just on top of the world again, and she stood up and she's showing me her hips. And it just makes me feel
Amazing.
so good. And she's like, "And you just learned this?" And like, yeah, and you can learn it too. I mean, it is amazing, really, really amazing.
It is. And what a brave person to kind of take you up on your offer.
Yes,
She doesn't know you, and to have this experience, put herself in that position to have this experience and see what happens. That really shows quite an openness of spirit as well. That is amazing.
that's
And so, this
true.
is something that you've put an open offer out on Twitter just for anybody to reply to you.
Yeah,
That's a great
yeah.
idea.
Well, just to get the yeah, just to get my practice in, and I will start, especially after you and I do this workshop. Then I will start offering other things just to get my practice in. Like I said, it helps me. I mean, so if it helps me and I can help other people, especially people who wouldn't necessarily pay for something they thought wasn't going to work, you know what I mean? So, but it's wonderful
Mhm.
to help people who are suffering, and for them to have a tangible result, so that really helps open up their minds, to, wow, our bodies are really able to heal, and we should be keeping our vibrations up and not letting things
Mhm.
not letting our mind just carry us off away rather. So yeah.
Exactly. And it's kind of a doorway into a different understanding of what it means to be sick, what illness is, or these manifestations of illness that just in general, people are not used to thinking about their bodies that way, or understanding their bodies from a vibrational standpoint. So I think these demonstrations where they can see something tangible, it's kind of like a little doorway that they can step into, have that experience without needing to think too deeply, too philosophically, too cerebrally about the whole experience. They can have the experience in their bodies themselves and then kind of think about, wow, that's really fascinating that this happened and this was what I experienced as a result, that they can know for themselves and not just through watching somebody else's YouTube video or reading a book and so on. It makes all the difference when you actually have the experience, I think. So that is fantastic. And I really love that you've been doing this series of alignments. And now this week, I'm starting the Self Created Health Workshop with Deborah Gare, and now Quantum Touch offers a variety of workshops. So I'm curious as to why you selected this one for your next Quantum Touch experience.
Oh, that's a really good question because after the Quantum Touch 1 workshop, I jumped ahead and registered for supercharging because I'm an overachiever. I just thought I've already read most of the supercharging book, so I'm just all over the place, just trying to learn. But then you have to realize, well, you can't learn everything through reading. You have to practice and just experience things. The self-created health, I actually I actually stumbled across, and I think I can say this if I didn't say it before, because I'm sure these are gone, but I stumbled across Richard Gordon's notes on the internet, some of them, and I think they've since been taken down. But I actually tried his method on myself, and it was so revealing, because I have something called non-allergic rhinitis, which is sometimes you're allergic to everything, but for no reason. You're not really allergic, but your body just overreacts. So to like cologne,
Wow.
for instance, or deodorant. And I've run across other people who've had it, for instance, on a plane where I've said, oh my gosh, someone sat next to me who had just really, really heavy deodorant. And it makes me feel, or cologne, it makes me feel terrible because it's not that I don't like the smell. I love the smell, but it's just suddenly you have this horrible headache. And anyway,
Wow.
I matched up all these symptoms using Richard's questions with, I mean, it was so sudden. I know exactly the month and year when the symptoms started when I was in college in a relationship that was
Wow.
just bad. And all these symptoms, because people they can't see how much pain you're in. Sometimes you feel like other people don't care because, well, I've told you your deodorant affects me. Why do you forget and wear it anyway? And a lot of it is like, wow, people don't, maybe they don't see you're suffering in this relationship. Maybe you're not getting the support that you need. It was all of these things, right? And it was just this aha moment. And I know it was a great release because I was just sobbing as I was going through and writing down these questions and then or these answers. And I think I spent like an hour doing that and just had these revelations. I was telling my husband about it, and then it did just help me release some of these things that I suppose I had just been suppressing. So I'm a big believer in self-created health, and now I'm thinking, well, what else, maybe am I carrying that I don't need to? So who knows, right? So I'm just there to learn, and I would love to help someone else not suffer, for I mean, with this, I'd had it for, more than 20 years. So it's like, oh, why did.
Wow.
I could have taken care of this. There's some things you don't think are affecting you anymore, and you don't want to even think about them because they happened so long ago. And you don't realize your
Exactly.
body's like, hello, hello.
Exactly.
Remember
And
this?
usually those types of things we don't want to revisit. We avoid revisiting. But I remember in one of an interview with Richard Gordon, he said, when you bury emotions, you bury them alive. And that has stuck with me. For some reason, it's gotten right into the fiber of my being. And it's made me realize, yes, it is so, so powerful. We think that we're suppressing our emotions. Sometimes it's a protective mechanism, tucking them away, and it allows us to continue our lives what we think is normally. But ultimately, they come back out in different ways and different manifestations. So I'm really, really looking forward to the class this week. And also, Deborah Gare is somebody who I really wanted to take a course from, who I haven't before in quantum touch. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And it will be interesting to see moving forward how your experience of this physical condition is as you come into contact with other stimuli that would normally affect you. So that is going to be fascinating, I think.
Yeah, and I should mention that this happened over the summer. This was probably July, so this is way before I even had this hip alignment done. So
Wow,
yeah, and I found
that's amazing.
yeah, the way I found out about it was because Richard mentions it in his Quantum 2 book and says, "Oh, this is what my next book is going to be about," or something. And I thought, "Oh, I have to find out about that one." And there just wasn't any information on it because I don't know. I suppose he didn't write a book on self-created health, did he? No, he doesn't have one. I don't think. No, so it's only the
No,
workshop. Yeah. So, but
exactly.
that's how I came across his notes. Is I just looked for it. So, and then, like I said, it worked. So,
Amazing. Well, I'm really looking forward to being classmates with
me
you
too.
also and to sharing this experience. And looking ahead, are you interested in taking other quantum touch workshops? Do you have any plans or you're taking it, letting the journey unfold organically?
Yes. So supercharging is in mid-December, and then in
Okay.
February I will be going to Kissimmee, Florida, and participating in the 2-day workshop that Richard Gordon's holding, which is all about sharing your gifts, sharing spiritual gifts. So that one I'm really, really looking forward to. And then I think I will probably pause for a while and just practice, practice, practice.
Amazing. And do you have any more alignments lined up to do also?
I have friends that have said, "Oh, you can practice on me," and so it will just depend on their hips. I do have yes, I do have another Twitter follower later this month, and then hopefully, if I just keep pushing that out and telling people, "Look, I'm not going to ask you for donations," or because there's a lot of that stuff on Twitter. Somebody tries to give you something, and then they're
Mhm.
like, send me this, and then, oh, by the way, there's a donation. So I'm just trying to quell their fears that I'm really just doing this to do it and to get the practice and to help. So
To
yeah,
get the
so hopefully
experience. I think
more,
that's a great
yeah,
idea.
I hope more will come. I know they will. So
That's
we'll see.
very, very cool. I love following your journey of how you came to quantum touch and then the alignment video with Richard Gordon, then level one and doing initiating your own practice alignments and now continuing on to take other workshops. Really amazing and interesting to get kind of a glimpse into somebody's journey with quantum touch because everybody comes to it through different venues. So it's nice to get kind of this front row seat into your journey as well. So thank you so much for your time today. It's been great to chat again. I look forward to connecting again. And do you have any final thoughts before we conclude?
Um, just that I suppose we should just continue doing this maybe after our self-created health workshop. It would be fun to see or to talk about our different perspectives, and I will definitely try and find some people to practice the self-created health with as well. So we'll see how that goes. But thank
I
you so
think
much
that's
for having
a
me.
great idea. Yeah, thank
Great.
you so much. I think that's a phenomenal idea. Yes, let's connect again after the self-created health workshop so we can both share our experience of it, of the material. And I think that's a really great idea to find people to practice on. That's something that's maybe a little bit more sensitive subject matter.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm sure there's willing participants out there as well. So I look forward to connecting again. Thank you so much for your time today, and we'll see you next time.
All right. See you on Thursday in our workshop.
That's right. Yeah, I will see you on Thursday.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thanks,
Great. Thank you
Renee.
so much,
All
Johanna.
right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.